Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me for my Try It Out Tuesday series. Now today I'm going to be trying out the new stamp set from Avery Elle. This is called C-Prise and it is so cute. There's two images on there. You got the cute little shark and then a cute little puffer fish that you can attach the little horn to, I guess. But two sentiments, one for each of the images, and then a few little sea elements that you can add to your little scene. But I thought this would be really fun. When I saw the shark, I thought, okay, this is gotta have this. Now, since it is a 3x4" stamp set, it's less expensive, and so I picked up the coordinating dies that went with it. But we're going to jump in by doing some stamping. I grabbed a piece of Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound cardstock, and I'm going to grab the shark here. I'm just going to use my Mini Misty, so I'll grab that and place my panel on the inside here. I'm going to ink up my shark with my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I'm going to color in my image with my Copic markers. So Tuxedo Black ink from Memento works fantastic. It's my go-to. Although I've heard there's a few others out there that work really well, so I might have to try those. Okay. I like the fact that the bottom of the shark is open, and so you can kind of tuck him in some waves. In fact, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to create some waves to tuck him in. Now, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and I'm sorry about the shaky camera. My camera is actually attached to my ceiling, and so I did it. So I was impatient and didn't wait for my husband to do it the right way. But every time I zoom in and out, my camera shakes a little bit. So one of these days it might fall off. But that's why it shakes. But I'm going in and coloring my shark in with my C1, my C3, and then doing some darker shading with C6. And I think he's really fun to color in. I really liked it. I'm coloring in his crown with a Y18 and then the YR23. And then for the inside of his mouth, I chose RV25 and then R59. For his teeth, I go in with E70, and then I thought we'll accent him with a little bit of my white gel pen. I've been doing this a lot lately. I really like the effect. Go over his crown, and then I'm going to add little accents to each one of those teeth, kind of making him a little bit sharper. When I got done coloring him, I thought, wow, he kind of looks a little bit scary. Maybe I should have used a different color for the inside of his mouth. But that's okay. We're going to roll with it. I'm going to take the coordinating die and just secure it with my purple tape and then run my image through my Big Shot. And I think he's going to be fun. Okay. Next, I have a piece of white cardstock here. And I'm going to grab my dies. I have these double stitched rectangle dies. I'm going to take the largest and then the second largest and create about a 1/4 inch thick frame. I've been making frames for my cards a lot lately. I've just been liking the way this looks. So there's my frame, and then I also created a background panel that fit my frame. Okay. Once we have that done, I think I'm going to grab my shark. I think he's going to go perfect inside there. Now we need some waves. So I'm going to be using some embossable window plastic. I like two types of acetate. One of my go-to for my shaker cards is the Hero Arts acetate, but for my embossable acetate, I like the Judikins. So everything I use today, guys, if you're interested, I'll leave links to the description area for you and also over on my blog. But I'm going to take my alcohol marker and color over my acetate. The color that I'm using here is BG57. It's almost like a teal. And I really like the effect that this gives. I kept wanting to put more and more lines on there, but I think that looks so neat. I don't know if you can tell, but I think that's going to create a real fun watery background. Okay, we're going to flip it over and use a different color. Like I said, that was BG57. I'm going to grab B18, which is a darker blue, and we're going to go over the bottom portion. And then for my third one, I grabbed B12, and I did mix in a little bit of the BG57, only because the B12 was very light. So I have 3 different colors. On camera you really can't see the color variation between the top one and then the one on the right, but the top one's more of a teal color. I'm going to try and show you. But here's the lighter blue. Wow. If you visit my blog, I'll have close-up pictures, and you guys will be able to tell the difference there. But or even maybe pictures at the end. But I'm just going to trim this down, and then I'm going to use one of my border background stamps. The ones I use are from Elizabeth Crafts. They're not too expensive actually, and I really like the way these are. They created real background elements. They're called Adventure Edges. But I'm going to take the wave, and again using my purple tape, I'm going to attach it to my acetate, and I'm going to die cut out 3 pieces of different colored acetate, creating some waves. Now I'm just kind of arranging them on my background panel how I think they look the nicest, and I put the darkest color in front and the lightest color in the back. Now I'm just going to use my tape runner around the bottom portion of my frame, and then I'm going to place my frame on the very top piece of the acetate, and it's just going to pick up the blue, the darker blue. Now once I have that picked up, I'm going to take my scissors and just trim off the excess. Now here's where I should have stopped and stamped my sentiment, but I was on a roll, so I'm going to grab my foam tape. I used my 3M foam tape, and I just cut it into very thin strips that fit around my frame, and I had them already ready to go. So I'm going to go around the entire frame with these. Okay, now I'm going to remove the backing just off the bottom portion, and here's where I realized I should have stamped my sentiment. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to peel up the acetate that's on, or the foam tape that's on the acetate. It was easy to peel up because it was on the acetate, but once I hit the paper, it started tearing up the paper. So when I hit the paper, I just stopped. Now I'm placing it as flat as I can on my glass mat, and then I'm going to grab the sentiment. Use my anti-static powder tool and go over that. I'm kind of winging it, and I didn't know if my anti-static powder tool was going to take off some of my alcohol ink on there, but it worked just great. So try it and test it. Now I took the sentiment that says, "Hope your birthday is swell." I'm going to ink it up with my Versamark ink. Now anytime you stamp on acetate with Versamark ink, anytime I do, it slides, so I was super duper careful when I stamped it. Normally if I stamp on acetate, I like to use my Mini Misty, but I was super careful and it worked out great. Now I'm going to take some white, I'm just going to take the foam tape and replace it on the back side. And then I'm going to go over my Versamark with some Simon Says Stamp Fine Detail White embossing powder. And then I'm going to tap that acetate really well to get all that embossing powder off. And I'm going to go ahead and melt it. I kind of melt it in increments because it still will warp, but you have to just be real careful. But there's my sentiment, and I think that looks really neat against the blue background. I'm just going to take that piece that I removed and place it back. And then I'm going to remove the backing off. Well, I guess I didn't do that yet. I'm going to place that on my second layer of acetate. Again, trim off the excess. Okay. Now next I'm going to take some more of, I'm going to remove the backing here, and then I'm going to take some more of the foam tape and place it another layer. The 3M foam tape is not that thick, and so when you double it up, it still creates a mailable card. So I'm just going to add one more layer, and then I'm going to pick up my third layer of blue acetate. And I think that creates a really neat wave scene. Now for my background panel, I needed to create like a little bit of a sky, and when I went to go get my stencil, normally I like to create clouds in the background with my MFT mini cloud stencil, but this time I found this one first, and I hadn't used this in a while. This is a stencil from Stampin' Up, and so I'm just going to lightly shade my clouds with some faded jeans Distress Oxide ink. And I'm not going over really heavy. I didn't want my clouds to be the focal point. I just kind of wanted a little bit of a background. Lovely. I think that looks great. Okay, now we're going to take the little school of fish and we're going to stamp that towards the bottom of our panel. We're going to have a busy underwater scene. I'm going to stamp my fish with my Versamark ink. And then one more time. Okay, also in this little stamp set there's little waves. I'm going to grab that image and I'm going to stamp that a few times as well. And I think I'm going to do it one more time. When I finished this card, my oldest daughter, she's seen it sitting on my desk and she goes, "Mom," she goes, "this card is lit." And I go, "What?" She goes, "This card is lit." I go, "What does that mean?" And she goes, "You know, like legit." I was like, "Oh," I go, "Emily," I go, "whatever happened to cool?" And they go, "Mom, you are just too old." So I'm making a lit card today. So that's the new cool word, I guess. But I just placed my panel over my background and now I added 2 pieces of foam tape. I doubled it up behind my shark on the very top of him, and then I added my tape runner on the bottom and secured him underneath the wave. Now I'm going to take my tape runner and adhere my panel to my card base. My card base for today is an A2 size card base. We're just going to place him right in the center. I think this is a great birthday card for all ages, actually, and for all genders. Yep. You could actually replace the crown with a little bow. I think that would be kind of cute. But, okay, we need bells and whistles. So, his teeth look really sharp, so we're going to sharpen up his eyes with some ebony black Nuvo crystal drops. Make those stand out a little bit more like his teeth. Okay, now I'm going to take some Nuvo honey gold glitter drops and go over his crown. Give his crown a little bit of shimmer. And then I'm going to take some Nuvo. These are Morning Dew. Now this is my new favorite. I have glossy accents and I put it in a precision bottle, but my tip on my bottle keeps clogging and it turns my glossy accents a yellowy color. But this has never clogged on me and it works just the same. It's a little bit thicker, but I really like the Morning Dew. So if you are looking for glossy accents and would like a nice little substitute, the Nuvo Morning Dew works great. But I added a few drops on each of the layers of my waves, and each layer, when it dried a different color. I thought that was really fun. Now to sharpen up his teeth a little bit more, make him a little more scary, I decided to go over his teeth with a little bit of the Morning Dew also. But that completes my card for today. Something different. I always got to try something new on my Try It Out Tuesday. I hope this gives you some ideas. Break out your acetate and color it in. It creates a really fun background. Have a fantastic day, guys. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.